Hey guys, I'm Melissa Keenan, CEO and owner at Coaching with Melissa Keenan. I'm glad to be here, glad to be speaking to you today about sensuality for the savvy businesswoman. Joining you from outside because it was just calling to me. It rained today. I live in Reno, Nevada, and it's just lovely out right now. Sitting by my little grapevine. You know that chapter in Think and Grow Rich. If you're watching, say hello. Tell me if you've read the book Think and Grow Rich, and if you know about this chapter, because there's a chapter 11 in Think and Grow Rich, which is actually not in a lot of the prints that have come out more recently of the book, same exact book, but they're just making prints for modern day. And they actually have eliminated this chapter. But if you've read the full book, you'll know what I'm talking about. You're reading Think and Grow Rich, and you're like, yeah, like, it's like watching The Secret. You're like, yeah, like, I love this stuff, yeah. And then you get to this chapter, and it's all about sex energy. And if you're like me, the first time I read it, it was sort of like, what? Okay, I think I'll just skip that chapter. I don't know what he's talking about, right? Raise your hand. Anybody here read Think and Grow Rich? Anybody know the experience of reading that for your first time? Because he's talking, right? Think and Grow Rich. It's all about, manifesting and being in the being state. And once you have accomplished the being state, then therefore you will call in the money, right? And then there's this sex chapter, and he brings in this this concept that our sexual natures and our degree to which we access our own sexual energy affects our ability to be successful in business and our endeavors in life. And he even goes so far as to say that studies that have been done throughout, thousands and thousands of years have shown that those who are like in their fullest expression, extremely successful financially, also are correlated with having, he calls it highly developed sexual natures. Something like that. He also says like it's the emotion of sex. He calls it the emotion of sex, which it kind of throws me off. I don't hear anybody talk about it like that. But I really think he was onto something with this. In fact, I know he was, because now I am an intimacy coach. I have grown a lot since that first reading of Napoleon Hill's book. And I see with my clients how this has such a deep impact. And so it's vital for us to have this conversation as business women, how we have tapped into and accessed our own sexual natures, as Napoleon Hill would say it. I call it our sacred sensuality. And I come from this topic, I come at this topic with a really tenderness and a sacred energy around it, because that's what it is, and because the rest of the world doesn't, right? There's still a lot of pressure, I think, as women to basically like sell our sex. Even if we're not necessarily, sex workers, it's like, use your sex appeal to draw in clients, use your sex appeal to create your success. Even in boardrooms in corporate America, it's like, yeah, we want you to act like a man, but you better dress like a woman if you're going to have success. Like, make sure that you are accentuating your curves, make sure that you're doing some of these things. And I think all that's a bunch of bull crap. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about in the context of this training. And I don't think it's what Napoleon Hill was talking about either. Hi, Ariel. Thanks for saying hi. It's really so much more about us tapping into the truth of our sensuality, and I think this topic is so important for women. Why? Because a woman is born with a pleasure organ. She is the only living being born with a pleasure organ. Did you ever think about that? Pretty powerful. I'm like, wow. So the universe, God, whoever created woman, thought it was that important that she needed a pleasure organ. Gives you something to really think about, right? So when we have believed all the narratives from society and all the lies about whether our body is good enough or not, whether we're comparing ourselves to those in pornography and etc. or not, like we got so much there, and so it behooves us to take some time to actually think about our own sensuality. I define our sensuality. Are you ready for this? It's new. It's different than probably what you've heard, but think of the root of the word, sensuality. It is being fully alive in our senses. Bottom line, whether you're in a relationship or not, whether you're having sex or not, right? It is being alive in your senses, being completely present with the sensations that are coming to you. It's almost spiritual, right? Anybody who knows about being kind of sensitive, same root word here, right, knows that, man, like there's a lot involved to being fully alive and fully present in your senses. But let's go ahead and take this over to our sex lives. Let's just touch on that a little bit here, because typically what happens as businesswomen, we get so busy and so, we end up looking at sex as, either something that is just a to-do list, checklist item, right? Or we're looking at it and it's like, I don't really have any interest in that, and I don't have the time to figure out why I don't have any interest in that. So like that's just the bottom of the story. Or we may look at it as like, oh, it's a stress reliever, or like, it's a necessity. It's something that, I need in order to relax. Some of these different like transactional things. I mean, I've even talked to women who are like, okay, babe, I'll do the dishes if we don't have to have sex, or he'll come to her and say, I'll do the dishes if we can have sex. Oh my gosh, like, no. We've lost connection with ourselves. Every single one of those scenarios says to me, we are disconnected from ourselves, and we haven't actually taken the time to reclaim our sensuality, to define what it feels like and looks like for us, so that we can have a beautiful, full experience of it. And when we do that, whether we know it or not, we are blocking ourselves in our businesses. Okay? Now, don't take anything I say. Don't take my word for it. Go see for yourself. But if you're shut down, or there's this transactional, or there's this disconnected energy, then you're not living in your fullness, right? So that is going to affect how you show up with your clients, how you show up in your marketing, in your sales, all of that stuff, because you're not feeling that radiance from the inside out. The other part about that is that likely we're disconnected also from our senses, right? So how are we supposed to know intuitively like what's right and what's wrong for us, or what's the next best step for our up level or whatever, if we're not able to listen within? Then we're probably getting those answers from external authority rather than our own internal authority. Is this landing, you guys? Are you still with me? So it is so important for women who want to take their lives to the next level. I mean, if you're going to run some little itty bitty shop, or, maybe do some little piddly network marketing or something like that, or, you want to just coach your friends or whatever, then, you're like, this is too uncomfortable for me, I don't want to go there, then okay, like you can play it small, and that's great. And I think people in those positions are serving our community in an important way. They're filling a role, right? But if that's not you, if you're the kind of person who's like, no, I want growth, I want to be in my purpose, I want to be active and alive, I want to be the vessel so that when my client shows up in front of me, there's nothing blocking me from serving them at the deepest level. If that is you, then my friends, you have to, and your body and your whole being is calling you to take some time to reclaim your sensuality. Okay, let me give you one tool, just one tool to get started with this on your own. And I share a lot about this in my Facebook group, Women Manifesting Intimacy. Go check us out. We'd love to have you in there. Definitely a little bit more of a tighter knit community than what we have here in beautiful Women Helping Women with our 500,000 audience opportunity. Women Manifesting Intimacy. I talk about this all the time, but let me give you just one tool to get you started on this journey, okay? Which one do I want to give you? I want to talk about what I've seen just showing up this week with my clients. I had a client say to me, there's some parts about this that I actually disdain and loathe about myself. And man, you know what? That just like struck a chord with me because I remember feeling that way. Feeling like my desires can't be good. Like they can't be right. And she shared a little bit about like the kinds of things that turn her on and how she's been so ashamed of that, you know? And as we break this down, what we see is underneath all of our desires. And again, don't take my word for this. Test it out. Plant it like a seed inside of you. See if it fits. Our desires are always rooted in a good place. Sometimes the strategies that we choose to act out those desires, that's where we get wrong as a humanity, right? Where we end up going into places that are not good for us, not good for others. But at the core of our desires, we're good. It's good. It's wonderful. And so, you know, here's this example, right? Say some things like darker things, kinky things, BDSM kind of things, even the idea of rape. Say those kinds of things are the things that actually turn you on. Okay, and you're shutting that down all the time. You're saying like, this is so bad, I'm so bad, right? And shutting that down, that's creating that disconnection, right? But if you take some time to be with it and say, okay, you know what? This is like a physical reaction that I'm having. I'm going to try to understand it, okay? And listen to those desires, whatever those desires are. Like, oh, like this is what turns me on. This is what sparks, something for me. And again, like for sure, put boundaries around the strategies that you use to experience that desire. Put boundaries around it. Like, don't go engage in stuff that's out of integrity with your values. But thinking about it, being in your imagination about it, get curious with that. Do some journaling on it. Begin to understand what that is and follow it to see where it leads you. Because I know that at the core of you, you're not bad, you're not wrong. And so that's just an example, right, of some of the things we do. So the tool here is take some time to listen to what you desire. And that goes across all fronts, not just sexually, right? But what are the foods that I absolutely love that I'm fighting with myself about all the time? What do I love about them? What do I experience when I eat them? What are the experiences in my life that I love to be a part of, and why do I love them so much? Listen to your desires and follow them. So man, a woman who feels like she has full permission to live out her desires, she is in her power. She is powerful as a business leader. Is this landing, guys? Does this make sense? Okay, I'm so glad we got to have this conversation. Again, come and join us in Women Manifesting Intimacy. And if this calls to your heart and soul on a deeper level right now, if you're like, yeah, you know what? I've known that my sensuality has not felt like my own, and I haven't known what to do. I haven't felt like I've had a safe space to even explore this. And you want to go to the next level with this. You want to be able to reclaim your sensuality and just honor. Again, a woman is the only living being born with a pleasure organ. And you want to honor that and understand that there's some untapped superpowers there inside of you as a result of this sensuality. If you want to explore that, let's get on a call together. Just a 15-minute call, and I'll sit and hold space with you and help you identify the most powerful next step for you in your personal situation. I'd love to do that. I'd be honored to do that with any of you who are on here today. And we'll talk soon. Take care, guys.